Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I am here to review Damsel by Alana K. Arnold. So this was sent to me for review by Megan Beattie, book publicist, and I gave it only 4 out of 5 stars because of several reasons that I will get into, but this book is basically a twist on your typical story about dude saves chick from dragon, marries chick, they live happily ever after, whatever. So basically in this, we have a prince who's a douchebag. He goes to save a girl from a dragon, but basically the girl has no memories up to that point at all. She literally just like wakes up and he's like, "Hey, I saved you," and she's like, "Okay, from what? What happened? Where am I? Do I have a family somewhere? Like, what's going on?" So then he ends up being pretty dang emotionally abusive towards her, and there is, I will say, trigger warnings for sexual violence and emotional abuse, because there is quite a bit of that. The second part of this video, and I will warn you when it gets there, is going to be a spoilery discussion because I think that, well, I do have a lot to say about this book, so there is that reason, but also the fact that I don't think this should have been marketed as YA at all. The adult nature of this book was very pleasantly surprising to me. I was very glad because it really read like an adult fantasy, and I love adult fantasy, so I didn't have an issue with that at all. I thought it was a good thing. But I feel like a lot of people who maybe exclusively read YA or whatever might be thrown off by that, so just be warned. So anyone who wants to stick around for the spoilery part of this review, whether you've read the book or if you just want to be informed, or something like that, like better informed, if you want to know for a fact if you want to read it or if you want to recommend, like who to recommend it to and you're not sure. I did really like this book. I did think it was really good. However, just there are a lot of things about it that I really do feel the need to be, the need to address. Anyway, this girl has no memories, and she goes off with the prince to his kingdom, and in order for him to become king, because basically he's king, he just hasn't taken the throne because his father is already dead, but in order for him to become king for sure, he actually has to marry this girl that every generation, in order to become king, the prince has to rescue a particular girl from a dragon and marry her. And it's never really answered why that is, like why it has to be that particular girl. Like, can he not have kids with anyone else? Like, what? I don't know. It's never addressed. But it becomes clear when this girl gets to the kingdom that everyone else kind of knows more about what happened to her and why she has no memories and all of that stuff, like where she's been this entire time, than she does. And I do feel like it's very obvious right from the start, right from the first sentence we read from her. I think it was really obvious what it was that was going on, but this book really did a great job of keeping me guessing about the why and the how, not necessarily the what. So that was why, I mean, I finished this book in one day. It was so gripping. I was so like excited to see what happened next, and it was really good the whole way through. But I mean, some of those questions were not answered. But I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars because I did really love it. I had such a great time reading this, but it was just so short that we didn't get those questions, a lot of those questions answered, and also just the world building and how things worked and why certain things are the way they are weren't completely addressed. Like, it had some really creative ideas, but it could have expanded on them a lot more because this is only a 300-page book. I think it could have used some more information. So now I am going to proceed to the spoilery part of this video. So if you want to hang around because either you've read this already or you want to be better informed about if you want to read this or who to recommend it to if you're not sure if someone you know would enjoy this or not, I do recommend sticking around. But if you don't want to be spoiled, you should probably just go away now and I don't know. And also, any spoilery people watching the spoilery part of this, don't leave spoilers in the comments. You can be vague about it, but I just don't want anyone non-spoilery to look at the comments and get spoiled or anything like that. So anyway, goodbye, non-spoilery people. I will see you again with a new video. So now that everyone who is not wanting to get spoiled has left and the rest of you are here, I'm going to kind of go into some more detail about what was great and what I thought could have been better about this book, and kind of just in general give you some information about what kind of book this is. So first of all, the big twist that I think was really obvious to the reader, I don't think that the book is really trying to keep it from you, is that the girl was the dragon. And I'm sure some of you guys probably guessed that, even just from my saying she had no memories. But basically, once every generation, the king has to kill, you know, there's only one dragon born every generation, because they're not born in any particular way. They don't, you know, there's only one dragon in existence at a time. And so it's never really answered why it is that the king has to marry that particular girl, why it has to be the dragon, as I mentioned. But so we do get an answer to the how. One of the first chapters, the prince hears from his mother, when you go, and of course his mother was also a dragon, by the way, because that's what happens. Every single king has to marry that particular girl. So his mother tells him, so you can defeat the dragon with your sword, your mind, and a third weapon. And he doesn't ask what the third weapon is, because he knows she's not going to tell him. And then when he defeats the dragon, and then it says, and then he realized what the third weapon is. And then it just ends the chapter, and the next chapter is the girl waking up with no memories. And so I was thinking, like, what is it? What's the third weapon? Because I was expecting it to be some kind of concept, like the third weapon is love, but what it was, at the very end of the book almost, it is revealed what the third weapon was, and what it is between his legs. So that's right, folks. He goes over to the wound he made in the dragon's armpit when he stabbed it, and he says, hey, that looks like a vagina. And I kid you not, that is what made the girl turn from a dragon into a girl. Why is it that way? We don't actually find that out. So I know that's kind of weird. You may be wondering why I like this book so much, but like I'm saying, I am playing devil's advocate here. I don't want you guys to like not know about that aspect of this book, and just how weird some parts are in such an adult way, though it might not be for everybody. So basically, and the way that the girl finds out again that she is the dragon is really abrupt. The entire ending portion, once she finds that out, is only like 20 to 30 pages. So I do think that a lot of people might be picking up this book thinking it's really feminist and all that stuff. And I mean, in a way it is, because yes, I mean, it does not end up being like a girl being subservient to the guy who rescued her, anything like that. The ending is good for the girl, but up until then, women are kind of treated like crap throughout this story in kind of a gross way. All of that. So I do feel like if that is something that really bothers you and all of that, especially if you're someone who mostly reads YA, I would not necessarily recommend this. I would say you should be above the age of 16, and you should definitely be used to reading books that talk that way, and that are, I mean, for goodness sake, a guy sticks his penis into a dragon's like wound. I mean, come on. And then the dragon turns into a girl. That is like the epitome of what this book is like. And so while I didn't find that particularly jarring or weird in any particular way, that like made me like this book less or anything like that, I think a lot of people would. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if I got really rambly and ranty, but There's just a lot to say about this book, a lot to unpack, and I do really, like, even though I loved this book, I think that people should read it. I couldn't put it down. Like I said, I finished it in one day, and it was a work day. I mean, finishing a 300-page book in one day isn't that impressive, but the fact that I had like an 8-hour work day, and that was the day that I finished it, the whole thing, that's kind of insane. So that speaks to how much I liked this book and how gripping it was. But I really do think that you should be informed before you pick up this book. Just saying. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this, and if you have read this book, etc., etc., and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!